Okay, Unit 12, Day 2, Parabolas. So the definition of a parabola, we've done these before. These are just the x squared graphs. But it's a set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a fixed line and a fixed point not on the line. Okay, so that fixed line that I was just talking about to define the parabola, that's called the directrix. So that's this line right there, and it's underneath the parabola. Okay, the fixed point is the focus, and that's the same distance from a fixed line in every point on the parabola. And that just means like that if you were to find equal points like this point and this point, those are both the same distance there, or like this point and that point, those are the same distance. But you couldn't pick a point like right there and right there, those obviously aren't the same distance. Okay, and then the directed distance from the vertex and the focus of the point, oh wait, there's the focus, sorry. And then that's the focal length. So that's just the distance from the vertex to the focus. Okay? And we're going to call that distance right there P. So P is your focal length. And the distance, so the distance from the vertex to the focus is P. And the distance from the vertex to the directrix is also P. So those are equidistant. And then from that focus to the side, to the parabola, that's 2P. So you just double P, and that's how you get to that point. Same thing in that direction. Okay? So, a vertical parabola, so that's going to be y equals, and then the x squared. So if the x is squared, that's going to be a vertical parabola. That's either going to go up, or it's going to go down. Okay? And the axis is the y-axis. But that's only if it's x squared. If it's y squared, then it's going to go left and right. Okay, if it's positive, it's going to go right. If it's negative, it's going to go left. Okay, and let's just get into graphing some of these. So we're going to complete this chart and sketch the parabola. So we have x squared equals 8y. So first I'm going to find my p-value. So I'm going to set 4p equal to 8. Because if we look at this equation right here, you get x squared equals 4py. That means whatever's in front of y, you can just set equal to 4p. So 4p equals 8, which means p equals 2. Okay. Which means, so if p equals 2, p is greater than 0, which means it opens up. So that's positive, which means this opens up. On that vertex form, just set x squared, sorry, I kind of skipped that. So set x squared equal to 8y. Vertex form just means that you just have the y on the right side. So I'm going to divide by 8, and you get y equals 1/8 x squared. Okay. Now my vertex, there's no pluses or minuses here, so it's just 0, 0. My focus is 0, 2, because my p-value is 2, and this opens up, so it's going to be on my y-axis, so that's 0, 2. The directrix is just opposite of that, so y equals -2. Okay, and then we can just graph this. There's my vertex, there's my focus, there's my directrix. Now the distance from the vertex to the focus is 2, so then that distance out is going to be 4 because you double it. And that's going to be 4 out both ways, and there's that parabola. Okay, let's look at this one. So find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the parabola. So we have y equals x squared divided by 4. Well, my vertex, well, first, this is a vertical parabola because it's y equals, and it's going to open up because it's positive. Okay, my vertex here is 0, 0. There's no pluses or minuses. My focus, I'm going to set 4p equal to 4, because if you look at that vertex form right there, it's y equals 1 over 4p x squared. So I'm going to set 4p equal to 4, divide by 4, and you get p equals 1. So my focus is 0p, which is 0, 1. Directrix is just opposite that, so it's y equals -p, y equals -1. Okay. Example 3, it says write an equation of a parabola with vertex at the origin, so there's my origin, and focus at 0, -1. So there's my focus. that means that the directrix is at y equals 1. And then if that distance from the vertex to the focus is 1, I'm going to go out, double that, so I'm going to go out 2, and there's that point right there. Now we can draw that. Then to write an equation of this, p equals -1 because it went down 1. So that's going to be y equals 1 over 4 times -1 x squared, which is y equals -1/4 x squared. Okay? This one, so we need to find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the parabola. Well, first, this is a horizontal parabola because it's y squared. There's no pluses or minuses, so the vertex is 0, 0. The focus, I'm going to set -2 equal to 4p. Divide by 4, and you get -1/2. So that's going to be p comma 0, which is -1/2 comma 0. Okay, then my directrix is x equals -p, which is x equals 1/2. Cool? Let's do this next one. So we have to write an equation of a parabola with vertex at the origin, so there's my vertex, and directrix at x equals -2. So there's my directrix. Remember, the distance from the vertex to the directrix is the same as the distance from the vertex to the focus. So that means my focus is at 0, 2. Or 2, 0, sorry. And if that distance is 2, I can go up 4, draw that point, down 4, draw that point, and there's my parabola. Okay, then to write the equation for this, I know that p equals 2 because it was positive, we moved to the right. And I know this is going to be x equals because it opens to the right. And that's going to be 1 over 4 times 2 y squared, which is 1/8 y squared. Okay? Let's do this one. So we're given this graph. We need to find everything, and then we can write the equation for it. So my vertex is 0, 0, which means h equals 0 and k equals 0. My focus is -2, 0, which means p equals -2. My directrix is x equals 2. And my focal width, that's just the distance from the vertex to the focus, is 2. Now my equation here, the vertex is at 0 and it opens left, so it's going to be x equals 1 over 4 times -2 y squared, which is -1/8 y squared. Cool? Let's do this one. So we have to complete the chart and sketch the parabola. So first, if we have y minus 2 squared equals 8x plus 3, let's find the vertex form. So let's solve for x. So I'm going to divide by 8, and you get 1/8 y minus 2 squared equals x plus 3, which means x equals 1/8 y minus 2 squared minus 3. Now this is an x equals and it's positive, so that's going to open to the right. My vertex, you can go back to standard form, that's where I'd always go, and it's just opposite of those numbers there. So we have x plus 3 and y minus 2, which means that vertex is going to be, oh shoot, I did that wrong. I hope I didn't do this graph wrong. I did. That's going to be -3, positive 2. Okay. So let's see if I did this wrong. One sec. -3, positive 2. I did 2. Dang it. Okay, sorry guys. We're going to go back. Escape. Okay. So my vertex, ignore that. So the x is x plus 3, so that's going to be -3. And then y minus 2, so that's positive 2. So I'm going to go to -3, positive 2. That's where I'm going to draw my vertex. Okay. Now to find my focus, I'm going to set 8 equal to 4p. Because we can just look right there, or you could use that 8, it doesn't really matter. Which means p equals 2. Now I know that this opens to the right. So I'm going to go from that vertex right there, and I'm going to go right to, so 1, 2, there's my focus. Okay, sorry, these points are all goofy. Sorry, I'm struggling. Okay, then to draw the directrix, that's the same distance from the vertex to the focus, so I'm going to go back to -5, and that's going to be my directrix right there. Okay, and let's just finish drawing this out. So if that distance from the focus to the vertex is 2, that means I'm going to go up 4 because you double it. There's that, go down 4. There's that, and here is my parabola. So we've graphed it. Now let's just go back and let's look and see, where's my vertex? Where's my focus? That's at -1, 2. So this will be -1, 2. And my directrix is at x equals -5. Okay? Let's get to the next example. Sorry, I need to click through all this. Because I did that wrong. Dang it. Oh well. Okay. So here we're going to use the sketch of the parabola to complete the chart. So let's start with, this is opening down, which means that this is going to be a y equals and a -x. My vertex is at 1, 2. My focus is at 1, -1. And my directrix is at y equals 5. Okay? That distance right there will give me my p. That's p. So p equals -3 because I went down 3. So for this standard form, that's going to be x minus 1 squared equals 4 times -3 times y minus 2. And I got that -1 because h was 1, k was 2. And then 4 times -3 is -12, so that's x minus 1 squared equals -12 y minus 2. And then the vertex form of this, I'm just going to solve that for y. So I'm going to divide by -12. So I get -1/12 x minus 1 squared equals y minus 2, which is y equals -1/12 x minus 1 squared plus 2. Cool? Let's do this one. So we're given the focus, we're given the directrix. So let's graph those. So we're given a focus at 1, 0. And we're given a directrix at y equals -4. The vertex is halfway between the focus and the directrix. So that vertex is going to be right there at 1, -2. And since the focus is above that, this is going to open up. And I can draw that. So that distance is 2, which means my distance to the right is going to be 4. And my distance to the left is also going to be 4. And there's that parabola. So standard form of this, p equals 2, because that's the distance from the vertex to the focus. So that's going to be x minus 1 squared equals 4 times 2 times y plus 2, which is x minus 1 squared equals 8 y plus 2. And the vertex form of that, we're just going to solve it for y. So divide by 8, and you get 1/8 x minus 1 squared equals y plus 2. So you get 1/8 x minus 1 squared minus 2. Okay? Now let's do this. So we need to identify the vertex, focus, and directrix, and then sketch the graph. And this is not in the form of any of ours that we have. This is not in vertex form. This is not in standard form. So we need to complete the square here. So I'm going to subtract that 10 over. And I get y minus 10 equals x squared minus 6x. Divide that 6 by 2, you get -3. Square it, and you get 9. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides, because you have to add it to both sides so you don't change the equation. And you get y minus 1 equals x minus 3 squared. So that vertex is at 3, 1. I'm going to draw that right there. Now my focus, there is not a number in front of my y or in front of my x, so it's just 1. So 1 equals 4p, which means p equals 1/4. And I know that this opens up because it's an x squared and it's positive, so I'm going to go up 1/4, and that's where my focus is going to be. Then I'm going to go down 1/4, that's where my directrix is. Now if I went up 1/4, I'm going to go out a half, because you just double it in both directions, there's my parabola. So my focus is at 3, 1.25, or 1 1/4. You could write it either way. And my directrix is y equals 3/4. Or if you want to write 0.75, that's fine too. Okay? Remember to take the quiz. I'll see you guys tomorrow.